Hi everyone, I am Dr. Nidhi Khare, and in today's lecture I am going to talk about the types of teams, why do work teams fail, and also what are the problems with self-managed teams. So let's start with the types of teams. There are basically three types of work teams: self-managed teams, cross-functional teams, and virtual team. Self-managed teams are groups of employees granted administrative responsibility for their work. Now, this administrative responsibility involves delegated activities such as planning, scheduling, monitoring, and staffing. These are activities which are normally performed by managers. In short, you can say that employees in these unique work groups act as their own supervisor. However, something much more complex is involved than what this apparently simple label, that is self-managed team, suggests. Now, the term self-managed does not mean simply turning workers loose to do their own thing. Indeed, an organization embracing self-managed teams should be prepared to undergo revolutionary changes in management philosophy, structure, staffing, and training practices and reward systems. Moreover, the traditional notions of managerial authority and control are turned on their heads. Not surprisingly, many managers strongly resist giving up the reins of power to people they view as subordinates. They see self-managed teams as a threat to their job security. Now coming to cross-functional teams. Cross-functional teams are teams made up of technical specialists from different areas. Specialists from different areas are put on the same team. Among companies with self-managed teams, the most commonly delegated tasks are work scheduling and dealing directly with outside customers. Virtual team is a physically dispersed task group that conducts its business through modern information technology. Virtual teams are a product of modern times. Thanks to the evolving information technologies such as the internet, email, video conferencing, and fax machines, you can be a member of a work team without really being there. Now, whereas traditional team meetings are location specific, team members are either physically present or absent. Virtual teams, in contrast, convene electronically with members reporting in from different locations, different organizations, and even different time zones. Meaningful face-to-face contact, especially during early phases of the group development process, is absolutely essential. So, in this case, face-to-face contact is more important as compared to virtual team. Now, why do work teams fail? Advocates of the team approach to management paint a very optimistic and bright picture. Yet, there is a dark side to teams. They can and often do fail. Anyone contemplating the use of teams in the workplace needs a balanced perspective of their advantages and limitations. So students, it's important that you understand why work teams fail. Now there are a number of reasons why work teams can be ineffective. More than half a century ago, the tendency for reduced effort as group size increases was identified, and this continues to be a problem even today. In the 1970s, the devastating effect of groupthink that I have discussed before in my first lecture was documented. More recently, specific problems related to self-managed teams have been identified. Now, one very big problem is social loafing. Social loafing is the decrease in individual effort as the group size increases. Social loafing is group performance less than, equal to, or greater than the sum of its parts? Now you tell me, is group performance less than, equal to, or greater than the sum of its parts? Can three people, for example, working together accomplish less than, the same as, or more than they would be working separately? Now, an interesting study conducted more than a half century ago found the answer to be less than. So let us briefly analyze this threat to group effectiveness and synergy with an eye towards avoiding it. Now we'll take a look at the theory and research of social loafing. Among the theoretical explanations for the social loafing effect are equity of effort, that is, everyone else is just goofing off, so why shouldn't I? Second, loss of personal accountability, that is, I'm lost in the crowd, so who cares? Third, motivational loss due to the sharing of rewards. Why should I work harder than the others when everyone gets the same reward? And lastly, coordination loss as more people perform the task. Now, we are getting in each other's way. So there would be loss of coordination, right? Research studies refined these theories by showing that social loafing occurred when the task was perceived to be unimportant, simple, or not interesting. Group members thought that their individual output was not identifiable. Group members expected their co-workers to loaf, but social loafing did not occur when group members expected to be evaluated. Also, recent research suggests that self-reliant individualists are more prone to social loafing than are group-oriented collectivists. But individualists can be made more cooperative by keeping the group small and holding each member personally accountable for results. So then what are the practical implications of social loafing? So all these findings demonstrate that social loafing is not an inevitable part of group effort. Management can curb this threat to group effectiveness by making sure the task is challenging and perceived as important. Additionally, it is a good idea to hold group members personally accountable for identifiable portions of the group's task. Now that you know what is social loafing and you already know what are virtual teams, I want you to answer two questions. First, have you observed any social loafing recently? And if yes, then what were the circumstances and what could be done to correct the problem? So please think, analyze and answer. Second, what do you think? Are virtual teams likely to be just a passing fad? Yes or no? And if yes, please justify, and if no, then please justify. Problems with self-managed teams. The main threat to team effectiveness arises from unrealistic expectations on the part of both management and team members. These unrealistic expectations create frustration, which in turn leads to the abandonment of teams. Mistakes by management usually involve doing a poor job of creating a supportive environment for teams and teamwork. For example, decrease in individual effort as group size increases. Another example would be reward plans that encourage individuals to compete with one another undermine teamwork, as can inadequate training in team skills. Now, the environment may be hostile for teams if no attempts are made to change an existing command and control culture. Also, teams cannot overcome weak strategies and poor business practices. This can happen if teams are adopted as a fad with no long-term commitment on the part of management. Team members themselves can drive failure when they take on too much too quickly and drive themselves too hard for fast results. Now, important group dynamics and team skills get lost in the rush for results. Poor interpersonal skills and lack of trust between members often lead to conflict that can undermine team effectiveness. Also, teams need to be counseled against quitting when they run into an unanticipated obstacle. Students, we need to understand that failure is part of the learning process with teams as it is elsewhere in life. So, then what is the solution? The solution is team building. Now we'll study about team building in detail in our next lecture. Thank you.